The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza, The Green Law Firm, Personal Injury Attorney, Drums Earwear.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I am your host, JB, your sports guy. We got a big show for y'all tonight with two special guests. Our special guest later on is Opelousas head coach, Jimmy Zachery. But before we get to our first guest, I want to introduce my two co-hosts. You can find both of them on CrescentCitySports.com. First, Mr. VK Jones. What's up, VK?
Good evening, everybody. Like, tag, share, and subscribe to the Hash It Out Show on all social media platforms. And we're also on the hashitoutshow.com. We just got the website launched a couple weeks ago. So go on and visit with all the good content shows and then some on the hashitoutshow.com. We got a good one for you tonight. And it feels like a reunion tonight early. You know, we have a very, very good dear friend of me and George's that we've been on in the past, and it's good to have him on the show tonight.
Most definitely. My other co-host, George GP Peppers. What's up, GP?
Not too much, gentlemen. I'm glad to join y'all tonight. Sorry about last night. But you can find the three of us Friday night in New Iberia, where we will have Westgate hosting the dynamic Jawan Johnson and Lafayette Christian. And we pregame will be at 6:20, kickoff at 7. And our first guest is going to be part of an outstanding matchup this Friday night. And if we weren't going to be in New Iberia, I sure wouldn't mind checking this game out. We're going to give this game a lot of love because it deserves it. It's two very good programs, and we got two great guests. And it's pick night on the Hash It Out Show. We're going to pick the games this week. Games get more important. We got to up our game. So that means we got to put the records down and let's go get these W's. So with that, JB, let's get going, baby. I'm ready to roll.
Well, before I go, George, see, we got two guests tonight. See, I know you couldn't make it. Unfortunately, we did the pick'ems last
Oh
night.
Lord.
So just send me your
Oh, we did?
pick'ems, George. Just send me your pick'ems. But
Oh, I thought we no, damn.
moving
That
on.
sucks.
Moving on. Big matchup going on tomorrow between Cecilia and Opelousas. Big district game, big rivalry game. And our first guest, he is the head coach of the Cecilia Bulldogs, the one, the only coach, Dennis Skains. Coach Skains, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How y'all? Everybody hanging in over there?
Yes, sir. Doing
Yes,
great.
sir.
Doing
Sorry
real
we didn't
good.
get our picks in. Nobody told me. I would have picked. We do a little pick 'em over here too.
Oh man, we get you in one in the future, Coach. I promise you that.
Sure.
We'll do that definitely. Coach Gaines, you're going into your 8th season at Cecilia. How would you describe your 8 years so far at Cecilia?
Well, it was a kind of a culture shock, I guess, when I got here a little bit. Just a small town with where I'd worked in some small towns before, but it was a little bit different. So it was, it wasn't the easiest job I ever walked into, but we've kind of gotten it to where, with the help of a lot of good people and good coaches and good administration, I feel like we got the program in a good spot, and we're just trying to continue to improve.
Why did you take the Cecilia job?
Uh, well, I guess honestly, I fell in love. I worked at Bell Chase for 4 years under Coach Begnell. Learned a ton from Coach Begnell. He retired, and I was able to work with my current offense coordinator, Clint Harrison. We would play college ball together, and I ended up taking a head job at South Lafourche, and which is just there in Cutoff, about an hour away. But I had fallen in love with New Orleans. And honestly, the last place I wanted to go was closer to Lafayette. I really wanted to be back in New Orleans, and because I had just fallen in love with the city, and I knew that's where I wanted to be. But you know how it goes when you try to make plans, or you make life plans. They kind of backfiring on you sometimes. But Cecilia job came open, and it gave me an opportunity to work with. At first, Dane Chaponche was my offensive coordinator. He had currently was at OC, and it's he's now the head coach at Turlings, but he came in with me in 2016, and we had always wanted to work together and kind of learn from each other. I think we had stopped kind of growing at our current situations, and we wanted to get better. So my plan was to be here for 2 years and then make it back to New Orleans, but here we are, year 8. So I guess really the reason was growth. I wanted to grow and become better at what I did, and I knew working around good people, and Dane certainly being one of them, and now being reunited with Clint has really helped me grow.
How would you describe your coaching style?
Uh, well, it's different at Cecilia than it's been anywhere else. I could tell you that much. I'm more of unfortunately, sometimes I'm more of a disciplinarian here. More of the guy that's got to constantly stay on you. Where in other places, I've been able to kind of be a little bit more energy. I'm not quite Brock Mathern, but I was a lot of Brock Mathern as far as constant energy, keeping everything up and going. And now it's kind of like you take a role where you're in charge at a place where the discipline has to constantly be reinforced. Then I think you become sometimes you're the bad guy at times, and I think by the time when you have the kids, and by the time they understand and get it around their sophomore junior year, they know that you love them and how much you care about them and how much you're trying to help them. So even though you're the disciplinarian, they still kind of understand why. But it's you lose a little bit of the getting to be the guy that brings the energy every week, because it's hard when you got to constantly watch and make sure everything's going as it's supposed to. So I guess long story short, I guess my coaching style now is kind of a disciplinarian. I'm a I guess people might say a little bit of an old school kind of in your face a little bit, but in a good way. I think the kids respond to it.
Non-district schedule. You have teams like Southside, Notre Dame, and even Iowa at the end of the season. Why is it so important to schedule tough teams in your non-district?
I mean, it makes you better. I was originally raised under Sonny Chaponche at Turlings my first 8 years, and the one thing I learned, well, I learned a lot from him, but one of the things I learned from him was just if you want to be better, you got to play good teams, and you can't be nervous that oh no, it's a game we could lose. We've certainly lost our share, but we've also won our share. But either way, when you play those teams, you become a better football team, a better program, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get ready to be in the playoffs and be prepared for that. I've never been a big fan of trying to fool yourself by winning some games that maybe it doesn't show your weaknesses. But we started out with St. Louis as the scrimmage and Turlings as the jamboree, and then went on with the schedule we had, and I liked it that way. Our kids liked it that way, and of course you're going to see your weaknesses, man. It shows your warts early, but that's how you improve. That's how you become a better football team. And we certainly had a lot of things that we needed to improve on, and still do. Of course, I know we'll see some flaws on Friday night because Opelousas is a great team, so they're going to show us where we're weak too. But all that does is make you better. I think shying away from playing those teams can hurt you at times.
What's been the key to success that Um, no, what's been the main key of why Cecilia football has been successful under your watch?
Oh, I think it's been just continuous growth. I would say, I think the mentality maybe. I think one thing maybe I've helped with is trying to kind of see past, um, beating Bro Bridge or winning the district championship, or and kind of putting our eyes on the big picture. And that's one thing where me and Brock have always seen eye to eye. And I was lucky enough to have him for 2 years at South Lafourche when I was a head coach, and then I got him for 1 year over here. Um, and that's one thing we've always seen eye to eye on just not let's not shy away from the fact that we're trying to win a state championship. I think some people are scared to say it because you might not win it, but I mean, what are we doing this for? If not, so I think maybe the vision. I think I'm usually pretty good at that, and I think that Cecilia's kind of embraced it, like looking bigger than what you've maybe been used to looking at, or and in all aspects of the program, facilities, mentality, the things that we believe in here. I think all kind of tie together into what we're trying to build, and really what we're trying to build is young men who are going to be successful when they leave us, and that's our goal. That's our kind of our mantra. We want to prepare kids, for our coaches at least. We want to prepare kids for life after they leave us. And I think not shooting for the bigger things in life, I think could be some kids miss that, and I'm really proud that we really stress that here.
Cecilia has been in the playoffs consistently ever since you took over, even a couple quarterfinal appearances. With your team this year, of course, the goal is to win a state championship. But with your team this year so far through 7 weeks, how would you access your team?
You know, uh, I think we've grown each week, which I'm proud of. That's what you look for as a coach, and unfortunately, you're never happy. It's like me and Brock talk about that sometimes. It's like you're destined for a life of misery sometimes as a head coach because you're never really happy, uh, and because you only see the places where you've got to grow and improve. But I think that drives you sometimes. I was telling somebody today, big games like this, if you're I'm usually nervous or thinking that I'm overlooking something. And, so I become miserable during the week. And then when I don't feel that way, I start getting nervous and miserable because I'm not feeling that way. And maybe there's somebody, they know something I don't know, so you kind of, you live in this life of constantly worrying about making sure you're getting everything done and doing it the right way. So, I think the growth of our team though has been evident on film, when we watch it, and obviously the results are what they are, but um, we never like losing football games, and we lost one week too, but and look, we did a ton wrong. We did a lot right, but we did a ton wrong, and we grew so much from playing that team, and we've gotten a little bit better each week, and I think that's kind of where we're at right now, and we plan on doing that again this week. Like I said, you play great football teams. All it does is make you better and prepare you for the playoffs, and that's what we're trying to do.
Before I pass it on to VK Jones, Opelousas this Friday night. What is it on film that you see about Opelousas?
Very, very athletic, huge, big, very big. Well, very well coached. They know what their identity is. There's no confusion there. They know what they are. They know what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, and they're really good at it. Jimmy's done an unbelievable job over there and improving that program and improving that school and improving our district. To be quite honest, and I'm really happy about that. That they've. I think I wish we were all kind of at the top level, and hopefully we can all get there. I know each of the coaches are trying and working towards that. So, but he's done an excellent job, and you can just tell uh, that they're coached very well, and they have good football players. Man, it's hard to win. It's hard to win, and you need good players to do that, and he has those, as do we. But also you got to do the right things with them, and he's certainly doing that over there. So. Uh, the things that stick out there is just, defensively, the speed is always giving us trouble. They're really good in all three levels, Offensively, it's not a, you think about Opelousas and what they do now, and you're thinking they're just going to run the ball up your throat, or down your throat, and they will, they will do that. But they can also throw the football. They're really good off of play action. They're really good. They have some really good receivers. The quarterback can throw well, even though he's young. He plays like he's a junior or a senior. Obviously, the running back is, he's one of the best around. So, um, that's what I see when I turn the film on, and it's one of those where it's exciting. It's exciting, man, to play these kind of games and to go against these people um, that also have great programs, and you can kind of match yourself up against them. That's what high school football is all about.
Agreed.
Coach Gaines, man, it's good to have you on.
Appreciate
I
it.
know we go way, way back. I tell
Yes,
any and
sir.
anybody. I even told Brock Mathern, I said, man, Dennis Skains is a straight shooter, man. A straight
Probably
shooter,
so. Probably so.
because we always had some nice conversations before when I used to broadcast at Bell Chase High School, man. So
Yes,
it was
sir.
some good conversation with you and also with Coach Clint and everybody else, man. But it's good to
Yes,
have you on. First
absolutely.
question, yes. First question is, what is the difference with the programs you've been at? What's been the difference between Bell Chase, South Lafourche, and now Cecilia?
Hmm.
What do you think? What has been the difference between those three programs, especially what you're doing now at Cecilia, and how this program has been not just good, but how supportive they have been of you?
Sure. You know what? And I can't. I don't want to leave out Turlings either. That was
Oh, I forgot about
yeah,
Turtles.
my
Yes,
first 8 years it was there. But you know, Turlings was established. Bell Chase was established. I mean, I showed up the year after Bell Chase won the state championship. So I was the anchor that brought him down afterwards. But so those two were kind of established programs that were on the map, and I got to learn so much from them. Anytime you have private school, and a lot of people think, there's no issues over there, but it's just different kind of issues than a public school. And we've had, you know, the plenty of issues at Turlin, just like at Bell Chase. I would say the outside of the two programs that were already established that I was really just trying to learn from. And look, Sonny Shaponche and Bob Begno are two of the people that are the reason that I coach. They're the reason that I'm able to coach. Those guys have accomplished so much. If I can do half of what they do, I would be ecstatic with my career. But with those guys, they had it was kind of a learning phase for me. I'll go to South Lafourche, and I don't want to say I loved my time at South Lafourche. So I'll say this: when I went on the interview over there, I lived in the city of New Orleans and was in love with it. And I had gotten I won't say what school, but I'd gone on an interview for a school, and they said they really liked me, and they were, but they were stringing me along a little bit. And I said, well, let me go to this South Lafourche interview, and I'll try to kind of press them into to go ahead and offer me the job at the other school. And I went to the South Lafourche and I parked. So I left from New Orleans, drove to Cutoff. If you've never been to Cutoff, it's exactly what it
Yes.
sounds like. And
Yes.
I remember thinking, well, I would never live here. So, and I went on the interview. They offered me the job. So I called the other school and I said, look, they offered me a job, hoping that they were going to say, oh, well. And they were like, well, you should probably take that job. I was like, oh, crap. So I ended up taking it. And that's where I ended up. But, man, it was a blessing. It was such a blessing there. I always say this. I went in, and my first year, I didn't have a clue. I mean, not a clue what I was doing, but I knew I needed. I didn't have anybody there. I knew I couldn't get anybody to move to Cutoff with me to go there, and so I had to win over kids, and I had to win over the coaches too. So I just had to make them believe that I knew what I was talking about, which I had no idea, but I tried to own it, and the worst thing that could have happened probably is we went undefeated that season, and in 5A, and people thought I knew what I was talking about. So when I say sometimes I didn't continue to grow, was it was a lot of people thought, well, he knows exactly what he's doing, and didn't realize I was guessing half the time. We ran into a good situation, but I really enjoyed my time there. We had a lot of success at South Lafourche in the 3 years. One year that were a little down, but outside of that, I felt like we always overachieved. And that program was a lot of kids who were tough nosed, workers. A third of my locker room had great 2-parent homes. A third of them had a 1-parent home, and then another third of them didn't have anybody at the house, and that's legitimately the truth. So but what they all had in common was football. And if you've ever been to Cutoff or been around that area, they are very serious about it, and there's not much to do there. So they're going to the football games, the basketball games, the baseball. I mean, everything. You go to a basketball game on a Tuesday night in Cutoff at South Lafourche, it's going to be standing room only, just because there's not much going on. They're very passionate about it, but the kids were very passionate about it too. They bought into what we were, and Brock Mathern was a big part of that. He came in I think I hired him. He was 19 years old, and honestly, was within a couple of months one of the better coaches on staff. That's why he's just kind of a natural. But what we began to build there was a belief. Kind of what I'm trying to build here is like, hey, you got to believe that this thing can happen. If you don't, then we don't have a shot at it. So I really enjoyed. We didn't have the year in and year out talent that we have at Cecilia, but you kind of get it in waves over there. You get every 3 or 4 years, you're going to get you're going to get a good senior and junior class that can really compete. I know they're young this year, but they're going to actually, I think in a couple of years, they're going to have a really good season again. But then coming to Cecilia, it was just a shock to me. The discipline wasn't the same in the school that I was used to. And then it was kind of like you would come from one part of the school where the discipline was one way, and then you'd come back to the back, and I was expecting the discipline to be another way. And that's hard on kids, because it's not consistent. And that's where I had to kind of start becoming a disciplinarian, unfortunately. But I know it's a necessity for us to succeed here. So very long-winded answers, but probably boring to anybody who's listening, so I'll stop. But it's it's been different at all the places. But the one constant I will say is, if kids don't know that you love them and that you care about them and that you're worried about more than just that football season, then you're not going to have much success, is what I found. And luckily, I had my first 2 head coaches that I worked under. They knew that, and they taught that to me and proved that to me. So I think that's a lot of the reason we have success now.
Tell us a little bit about your offense a bit. We know Clint Harrison is the man that calls the shots on. Can you tell us a little bit about your offensive players, and is the style similar to what he ran at Bell Chase?
No, when he came in at first, we were running the same system, and but we didn't have. In the first year he came here, we went to the quarters, and look, Clint's a godsend. Let me just tell you right now, he's a one hell of a offensive coordinator, man. Like, talk about make your job easy. He's so good at what he does. He knows what to do with talent. When he's low on talent, he knows what to do with that. He's all you got to do is look at his track record, and you'll know the guy can coach. And a great human being too, a great Christian, really good with kids, great dad, father, husband. But anyway, the style, we kind of switched to more run first offense. Actually, believe it or not, if you've seen his offenses, it's always been different with that screen game, perimeter game to open up the run. But now we kind of established a pass through the running game, and but he does a great job, man. We have a lot of talent, and my issue sometimes with talent is like, man, how do you get it to all of them, consistently, and know how many to get this? And I don't think he looks at it like that, but that's how I look at it. I found just get the hell out of his way and let him do the work, and he usually gets it done. But we have some really good pieces. We have two really good seniors on the offensive line. Our center, Landon DeCalagon, Caden Joe at tackle. Another one that rotates, Gonzalez, we call him Gonzo, Ludwig Gonzalez, and wide receivers. We have a wide receiver and a tight end, 2 tight ends that are seniors that are a big part of it. And the rest of the offense is really juniors and sophomores. A lot like Opelousas, we're young. We're mostly young overall, but quarterbacks, we believe, one of the best players in the state. He kind of makes it go. He can run, he can throw, very similar again to the quarterback at Opelousas, who's so dynamic. But he really kind of makes it go, and we have several good receivers. Our defense is, again, kind of we have a few seniors, but it's really junior, sophomore, even freshman heavy. We have a couple freshmen that play on the defensive side, so we're relatively young, but offensively dynamic. We're going to run um, more power football in the run game a lot, and along with some zone read and stuff. But play action off of that. And Coach Harrison still runs his screens like he loves. But defensively, we moved to a 3-man front this year. It's kind of still a work in progress. So we're bringing more people and slanting and kind of bringing that fourth and fifth guy with linebackers just for lack of size, really, is the reason we switched over. But it's kind of how we're built. Special teams heavy too, man. We put a big time emphasis on special teams. We do a lot of things special teams wise because we believe that that's a major way in high school football to get an advantage because a lot of people neglect it. So we try to put a lot of emphasis on it to try to gain an advantage on Fridays.
Man, man, I'm gonna tell you. Tell Clint Harrison I asked about him, man.
I will. I'm gonna tell him.
He was unbelievable when he took over Bell Chase for a bit, man.
Well, do you remember his daughter?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they just won a district championship, and she's a sophomore. She's the leading cross country runner. They just won district today. So
come on now,
that'll make you feel old because I'm sure the last time you saw her, she was tiny, huh?
man.
But
man,
yeah.
I'm like this. That's amazing. I remember that little girl.
Yeah.
Tell Clint, I know I'm getting older now. I got a 4-year-old now. Let him know I got a 4-year-old daughter. I got a 4-year-old daughter now. So I already know how it feels.
Yeah, you start now, man. He's trying to get to the end.
Yeah, exactly. I pray that he does well.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you this one last thing, and I'm gonna let George take over questions. I think you're used to, you look at the backgrounds that you came from. I think you're used to those rural kind of environments, from Turlins Catholic to Belle Chase, South Lafourche, now Cecilia. And I'm looking at background pictures of Cecilia in that environment. It looks like the woods in itself.
Yeah, it does.
It looked like you're just used to the kind of environment you've been in, and it seems like it's very comfortable for you. Can you tell us about the difference with that, and not just that, the atmosphere of that Cecilia crowd? Because I know that's a tough place to play.
Man, it's special. It was special before we got here, but we were able to. I got here right at the right time where we had passed they had passed a bond where we could build a stadium. So we built the new stadium, and it's relatively new. First game was in 18, but it's become a kind of its own animal, and each year it gets a little bit better and a little bit better. But man, Cecilia they'll travel, man. Like I try to tell people when we schedule, I'm like, man, listen, it don't matter if the game's on TV. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like we're going to Livonia next week, and I guarantee you, our side is going to be packed. These people travel because they're very, very passionate. Again, very similar to South Lafourche in that aspect that it's a smaller town. They care about what goes on here, and they expect you to do your job, which I know some coaches don't love, but I kind of like it. Like if we're not getting the job done, I'd be mad at me too. So it's nobody's more mad at me than me, but I don't blame anybody for being that way. I think it just shows passion and kind of like what they expect, and I like high expectations. But it makes the crowd just really, really big every single week. We pack it out, so we're in a good place with that. You wouldn't believe it. You're right. I've worked a lot of rural places. You wouldn't believe. I'm more of a concrete jungle guy. I really, really love living in the city of New Orleans, and that's I think where I'll eventually one day, if, whether it be retirement or before that, it's where I'll end up. But it just so happens where I've always worked seems to be a little bit out there in the country. Cutoff obviously being the furthest away from society, but yeah.
George Peppers.
Coach Gaines, first off, thank you. I'll offer my thanks on behalf of the show for you to join us. I know it's been busy and everything. We're 3 games away from getting to the state playoffs, but of course it's this week up and it's Opelousas. My first question before we dive into anything in that, who was your inspiration to get into this line of work? Was there a coach or what inspired you to get into coaching?
Man, so I went to Turlings. My freshman year was Jake Delhome's senior year. I don't know if y'all remember Jake Delhomme. He
Yeah.
played
Yes.
Panthers.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
do we?
that's true. He was at the Saints. He was with the Saints for a little bit too. I won't say I played with him. I was a freshman. I weighed like 100 pounds, so I got to stand on the sideline in a uniform and watch him play. But you know, that year we went to the semis, and our offense coordinator was Sonny Shaponche. After that year, he got out of coaching football. We went 3-7 the next year, 1-9 my junior year, and then he decided to get back into football, and he took over as the head coach. And we went from 1-9 my junior year to undefeated my senior year. Ended up we lost in the quarterfinals, but that year shaped, and I knew almost, I don't know if it probably not even halfway through the season, I knew that's what I wanted to do, because it was always, I enjoy greatness and I enjoy watching greatness, and not only in sports, but sports is where you can recognize it the quickest and the easiest.
Hmm.
Any aspect of life, whether it be business, whether it be music, whether it be whatever, I enjoy watching greatness. And what they did that year was how they completely flipped the dynamic, the belief, the community, and how they changed the whole school. People don't know this, but man, how good your sport, how good football is in most places is a lot of times determines the growth of your school and how
Yes.
much bigger it's going to get. How that, we talk about this all the time. You have a great football season. It's like the rest of it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the year as far as not just sports, but just the entire thing. Uh, and people that are in it recognize that and know that. And there's no better example. I mean, when I was at Turlings, we were in portable buildings, man. If you go over there now, you wouldn't recognize the place. And it's all because of what Sonny Shaponche and that coaching staff did. I watched them mold and shape and change everything. And most of all, the belief in ourselves and each other and team. And, I went on to play college football. There's no way in hell I would have gone if they hadn't come. There's no way I'd even thought I could. And they were a major part of that. I know they changed my life and for the better. And I knew that I wanted to do that for other people.
Talk about the strength of football in your area, the Acadiana area and in Lafayette. There's a lot of arguments that are made that that brand of football is one of the best brands in the state of Louisiana. Talk about it from your perspective. You've been there 8 years, and there's been a lot of great teams. You mentioned, we could talk about Lafayette Christian, St. Thomas More. You guys have had some good step ups, Turlings. Talk about the depth and the brand of football that's played out there, and is it the best brand in the state?
I've been lucky, man, because I got to be in the New Orleans area, and I've got to be in Lafayette area, and then come back again and see it from a different perspective. I haven't been up north, of course, but obviously I'm really, really close to the Baton Rouge area, and we play over there at times. Man, it's a great debate. What's the best? Obviously,
Hmm.
I think you always have a feel that New Orleans is the kind of the best athletes, or it just feels like that. I don't know if it's true or not. But man, there's a great brand of football here as well, and there's an argument that the best brand is here. But it's funny because you see different that we, I think about this all the time. It's really weird. Is that there's different. Like if you go to New Orleans, it's less power football. There's less tight ends and H's and all that. You come here, it's like every single team's going to have a tight end. They're going to have a power installed. In New Orleans, it's going to be the power read. Here, it's going to be the traditional power. Uh, you know, I've seen more I back here. You go to New Orleans, I mean, if you see I back, it might be on the goal line or something. But it's just a different brand of football. But it's in both instances, it's very well coached, and it's at the better programs, the programs that have success have good coaches. Man, it's too hard now. It's too competitive. If you don't have great coaching, then you're not gonna be able to succeed at a high level. So, um, you know, the brand, which is better. Man, if you put a gun to my head, maybe I'd tell you off the air, but I don't know right now. It's
There
too
you go.
tough.
It's the honesty. That's the one thing I admire about you is that you're blunt, but you're honest, and that's a great trait. And you're a great coach. The next question I have: the schedule that you have this year, and it's littered with a lot of good football teams, and obviously some of those teams are really good. You mentioned the loss to Southside. You lost that game by 3. You whipped Notre Dame, who's a perennial power, by I think 15. Talk about your team. You're 6-1. The progression of your team, and do you feel like you've hit your peak yet, or is there more to give? And from your team, does it feel like you're about to hit your stride, or what do you feel like you are right now through 7 weeks?
Man, that's what I like about them so far. I don't think we've played our best football. I think it's in the future, and I think we're starting to peak when we're supposed to. You know, you want to do it obviously. In a perfect world, you're doing it week 10, but it happens when it happens. But uh, you know, the coaching staff is so good. The one thing I'm good at is making sure I got better coaches than me around, and I got a great staff that makes sure that I mean that we're not ever really happy, and I think that makes the kids never really satisfied in what we've done, and we've done some good things, but we've also every single game we've walked out knowing we left a lot out there that we got to get back to. So no, I don't think we're there yet. Again, we talked about schedule before, man. We try to play the best teams because they prepare us for what we're going to see in the playoffs, and um, you know, I know we got to get a lot better if we want to play in December, and that's our goal. So hopefully we haven't peaked yet. I know we've been putting up a lot of numbers on offense, but you know, if you follow Coach Harrison's career as an offensive coordinator, you'll see that he kind of always puts up a lot of points. So uh, I don't know if that's a great sign of that we've peaked or that we've hit our stride, but hopefully it continues to improve.
Big game against Opelousas this Friday night. Arguably one of the better teams in the area too. It's going to be a very good showdown, well attended. What has the atmosphere, the enthusiasm level been like this week, especially this week because it's that kind of game against a high caliber opponent? Obviously, you guys, I know for a fact you guys travel well. Seen it before in person. Covered Cecilia one game when I was at Wells High School doing play by play for them. We played Cecilia in 2010. And man, I don't know about y'all, but man, last one out, cut the lights off. That's basically what this thing is. But talk about this week, the preparation of for the game, and also the enthusiasm level by the student body and by the people around Cecilia.
You know, around Cecilia, it's the community is obviously very excited, and that you know, anytime you have success, they're extremely excited. But I think with the kids, it's less excitement as far as you can tell they're giddy or anything like that. It's more just the focus. I mean, um, and sometimes you'll play teams that you know we gotta keep the kids focused, and I think we've had a couple of times where we've had to almost just drag it out of them that they got to be focused, they got to know what's going on, they got to know their checks, stuff like that. Man, I put on the film today just as we're going through before our walkthrough, and I mean it was. I mean, they were see the backfield set, boom, there's a tackle over. I mean, they're just calling things out very, very quickly. You can tell they're zoned in and they're ready. They know that this is an important week. They understand the implications, and that these are the games they love playing in. I will say that about Cecilia since I've been here. Even when it was really tough to coach here, which the first 3-4 years was extremely difficult. Even with success, it was really, really hard. And I will say the one thing that I've always have that I wish I could say I brought here, but I didn't. Man, big games, they're dialed in always, and they're always dialed in for these big ones. And one thing that this particular team does is anytime we challenge them, they always step up to the challenge. They always answer, and I challenge them a lot. And this week is a challenge. It's a team that beat us a year ago. That's really well coached with great football players, and those are the games they like playing in.
I like the schedule the way it's crafted, and then the last 3 games you mentioned Opelousas Friday night. You get Livonia next week, team that could step up and do some things. And they get Iowa, a team that has been really, really good over the last 5-6 years, been a semifinal team multiple times. This schedule is from me. I mean, and I want your opinion. this schedule, the way it's concocted, the way it's drafted, it feels like a playoff preparation schedule. Do you concur?
Yeah, I've kind of always been that way. Like I said, Sonny kind of raised me that way. We
Hmm.
uh, we schedule really good teams. I think it's always in preparation for the playoffs. We don't even, and maybe I'm wrong for this. I don't know. Everybody's got their own way to look at it. We don't talk really much about district championships. There's a parish championship thing. We don't really mention it much. We're never like hoisting that trophy. And do we want to win it? Yeah, because that means we've been winning. But really, we want to win games because we we need power points, and we know it's going to put us in a better spot in the bracket. And
Sure.
that's kind of the way we think about it. And maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. I don't know. That's just the way we look at it. But yeah, it's everything is geared towards playing in December and playing for the big one and having that opportunity, because we know that's the ultimate goal, and that's kind of what we focus on. And the other things are nice. Don't get me wrong. And after the season's over, I'm sure we'll be happy that we have those things. But we won district 5 times since I've been here. I never ordered the damn trophies. Like I never thought to order them. And finally one day, an administration came to me and said, "You have to order you have to order them. You won them. We're supposed to get them." And I guess I never was. I was like, "Oh, all right." So I finally ordered them, and we got them all in. I think 2 years ago or something. But anyway, it's just the way we look at things, and how we try to get there, because we know if we're not playing those good teams, that there's a chance you fool yourself. And I've been on teams where we thought we were this great power, but man, we hit somebody in the playoffs and realized that's a different speed, and we hadn't seen it yet, and we weren't ready, and we get knocked off. So I want to make sure, will we ever be undefeated? I don't know, maybe not, but I know we'll always be prepared, and that we're never going to go in the playoffs and say, "Man, we hadn't seen that before." Outside of playing a car or somebody, really, really dynamic. So that's kind of how we look at it and how we schedule it.
Uh, you mentioned about district championships and whatnot. We had Brock Mathern on last week, and he mentioned, look, they're playing for T-shirts, we're playing for rings, and it feels like your answer, the beginning of your answer to my last question, it feels the same way. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I'll take it for what it is, and look, that's just a standard of excellence that you have built into Cecilia, and it's a great thing. Last question before I turn it over to Jared. Um, a few weeks ago, we needed some clarity about the playoff format. Now that we have it, that we're going to stay in the 22 version of the playoff bracket. Two-part question: what is your preference? Do you like this bracket, or do you feel like there's a chance that one day we can unite all these schools and get away from the split? What is your position on that?
Look, and I want to make it very clear, so doesn't sound like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. But first, before that, I'll say this: when it comes to Brock Mathern, our brains are pretty much. You could have maybe just interviewed him and gotten the same thing. Probably we're very similar.
Yeah.
I've never coached with somebody with such a similar mindset on everything we kind of try to go and do. Look, I'll say it like this, and I want to make sure it's clear so that I'm not. It doesn't sound. The format we're in, is it the most fair? Yeah, it's the most fair. But it's the most fair because it wasn't policed correctly before that. Okay, so and there's nothing to, in my mind, private and public are both guilty as hell. Like there ain't no way. I've been in both. I've been lucky enough to say we've never gone out and tried to get players. I despise that, and if that means I don't win a state championship, then I just won't win one. But um, I want to be all together. That's what I want. I want to win and know that I won, or I want to not win and know that I didn't win. But I want to know. Let's just pretend and let's say everything falls right and we win one this year, next year, the year after, whatever. I'm gonna wonder, I'm gonna want to know. Well, who is the select school for a? Well, could we have beat them if we had one more game? Could we have beat them? I'm gonna wonder. I don't want to wonder now. I despise the cheating. I hate it. And I hate the open enrollment, and I hate the way that the LHSA was unable to clear it up and to police it properly. I hate that because it took away what I think something very, very special in that we found out there were 5 champions every single year, and we knew who they were in the story. And you know, when I was at Turlings, we had some runs, man, and we ran into some schools that whipped our butt. If we had been in select, maybe we'd have won one. But you know, it is what it is, and we didn't when I was there. But hell, you know, we knew where we stood and where we were at, and that's the only thing I don't love about it, you know. But yeah, is this the most fair way? I mean, yeah, if you're not going to police it correctly, then yeah, this is the most fair way.
Coach Skains, we want to thank you for joining us. We truly appreciate it. Good luck this Friday night, and good luck to you throughout the rest of the season.
You got it, man. I appreciate y'all coming, having me on, and I appreciate everything y'all do for high school athletics, getting these kids recognized and the programs recognized. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach.
No problem, Coach. Have a good
Have a good one.
That's Coach Dennis Skains of Cecilia. And fellas, we're going right into it. Our next guest, he is the head coach of the Opelousas Tigers. We have Coach Jimmy Zachery. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. We hear you loud and
Yes,
clear,
sir.
Coach. We're doing good. Thank you for joining us, Coach. Let's get right into it, Coach. How has it been coaching at your alma mater?
Oh man, it's honestly, bro, it's a dream come true, man. Of course, you're gonna have your deals, the things that you deal with, man. And that's every program got the obstacles they have to overcome, things they have to deal with, taking over a struggling program, brother. That's just a part of it, bro. But you know, overall, it's a blessing, brother, to come back and try to reach the youth at a school that I went to, man. The streets that I walked as kids, and just seeing some of the teachers that taught me, some of my coaches that coached me, man, and just kind of paying it back forward, man. It's really a blessing, bro, truly.
Tell us why it was an urgency to bring Opelousas high school football back to prominence.
Because honestly and truly, I mean, it's where we belong, man. I mean, growing up, that's all I saw, man. The eras of the Mike Artigos and the era of Larry Dotree, man, that he really brought it to where it was, the 92 team, the Robert Hammers of the world. And, you know, Opelousas was a feared team. Nobody wants, and we was respected. We respected all across the state, man. And that was something I put on my back. And these coaches that I have with me, man, shout out to my coaches, bro. That, you know, pretty much we all alma mater here. They all went to school here. So it means something different for us to come back and, again, pay it forward and kind of put our city back where our school and our city back where it need to be.
All right, Coach, I'm asking you one favor. Can you put your camera back the other way? Because we had you sideways all of a sudden.
Oh, good.
There we go.
You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. You speak of Coach Dotree, and it was funny because I did not know he coached at Opelousas. How much of a mentor was he to you?
Coach Dotree was he mentored me a lot, man. I actually drove to LaPlace, man, before I even took this job. I was taking the Coach Lee had offered me the defensive coordinator job at East Ascension, and I drove over there to Coach Doe, man, house, and I was trying to learn more about the 50 base defense that he ran, man. And I sat down with him, bro. It was an open book, man. He gave me everything he had and explained to me, you know, how he ran it, what he did, how he used everything. So again, Doe was a real mentor to me, man. To this day, man, I call Doe and ask him for advice on certain situations because again, I'm a first time head coach. I don't know it all. I don't pretend to know it all. I'm gonna make mistakes along the way. So again, when you have great coaches like that around you, you'll be a fool not to lean on them.
My next question is a two-part question. You were hired in 2020, COVID year. In that year, I think you went 0-6.
0-5.
0-5. The following year, you get your first win against Bossier. How did you feel getting your first win? And number two, did you feel that now this Opelousas football program was turning in the right direction?
To answer the first part, yeah, that COVID year was a struggle, man. We dropped the first 5. Of course, the season got pushed back that year because of the COVID. And we only had 5 games, and then our season we had 2 more, but we had to kind of forfeit those because we had a kid that caught COVID. So and back then the protocols was real different. You had to
Right.
sit out the whole week, you know. So again, that was real. There was it was a struggle, man. You know, you start questioning yourself. Did I make the right decision coming back? Am I the right guy? You know, I'd be lying if I didn't have those things going through my mind. But again, when you have a vision, you got to stick with the plan, man. And then you come back that next year and to get my first win against Bossier, man. You know, it felt good. You know, again, I was happy that I got the win, but I knew that we still had a whole lot more to go because it was an ugly win. But again, at the end of the day, it was a win. So I felt like we was turning the corner and we was taking the right steps in the right direction.
Last year, you guys won your first district championship since 1994, almost 30 years. Tell us about that achievement you guys got.
Well, we came into the season, man. We knew we kind of set goals for ourselves. Of course, is always getting to the dome, man, and try to win a ring. That's long term. The short term goal is to win our district, man. And we set our goal, and they actually achieved that, bro. And again, we preach the championship here, man. If you're not doing that, bro, you're doing it wrong. And it felt surreal, man. I felt like we have the team to do it. We had the team to do it, and which we did. And I feel like we have the team to do it again this year, man. But again, it's not going to be an easy road, because we have a tough opponent this week that won district as well.
You speak of this team last year, hosting your first playoff game since 2004. Didn't go the way you exactly wanted, and even the year before in 2021, you lost in the quarterfinals. Tell us how this group of kids, especially these seniors, have dealt with adversity.
Well, number one, we try not. I mean, you got to move past your losses, but again, your losses has to be lessons, you know. So we wanna move past it, but we don't want to forget that feeling we had after the loss, because you know it's a feeling that we should have won the game. You know, we up 2 scores, 4 minutes left in the game. You know, and the bottom fell out. You know, so again, you want to kind of use that as teaching points. Along when we start losing, we getting besides ourselves. You want to, hey man, remember how we felt. Because if we don't clean this up or stop making little mistakes here, we're gonna feel like we felt last year in the second round. You know, when you coming in the top seed and these guys coming in, Lakeshore, which was a well-coached team, man, they outplayed us, man. They deserved to win the game. But again, we did a lot of things in that game to beat ourselves. So you kind of want to remind your kids, man, of where you was and how did it happen to us, and let's not make the same mistakes again this year coming up.
Before I pass it on to VK Jones, my last question is: you have Cecilia coming up this Friday night, and there's always a big time game between Opelousas and Cecilia. What is it about Cecilia that you have seen on film?
Cecilia, man, they got a real athletic quarterback, man. He's their guy, man. They want to get the ball in his hands. They want to let him create and make plays, bro. The O-line is pretty decent. They're big. They have a receiver, number 1. He's pretty good. He also plays safety. They're gonna be well coached, man. Coach Skains does a hell of a job, man. With those guys, man. I've been kind of going against Skains since my EA days, bro. We was playing when I was at EA. He does a great job. He's aggressive. He's gonna blitz the house. He's gonna come at you, man. And those kids taking on his mentality, they're gonna be ready to come for the district. I mean, to me, that's the district championship Friday night. I mean, we could slice it how you want to slice it. The winner of this game gonna win district. Period.
VK.
Hey, Coach, it's good to have you on the show, Coach Zachery. Your program is really coming up on the rise more than anything else and all that. And it's been a long time since we heard Opelousas, that team, that name in itself, since the 90s. And I remember in 1993, well, y'all pulled off probably the biggest wins in your school history. You took out John Curtis to get to the state semifinals.
Yes, sir. I was at that game, man. I was at that game. I was a youngster. I was at that game. I was like 11 years old. I was at that game. I think it was like 4 overtimes they went in, and they pulled that out, man. That was a great game, bro. But again, you had guys, man. When you think about it, and I was talking about it earlier, just coming back, man. Just see that alone as a kid, seeing our school on top, seeing our school compete against the John Curtis, which is they have never fallen off, so it gives you that hunger that makes you want to go harder for your school, for your city, for those guys that paved the way for us to be here right now. Because again, those guys paved the way. This is their tiger we playing for, and that's what we tell our kids, they paved the way for. So again, it's a sense of pride and a sense of passion that those guys have, and they want to see the team because they know what they did to put it where it's supposed to be, so it should have never fell off. So just to get back where it is now, and to keep it there, man, you can't be no better than that, putting a seat on your back like that, man, and making those alums proud.
I think it's the fact y'all gave Curtis that y'all pulled that win off, and y'all gave Curtis that ultimate wake-up call because they ripped off back-to-back state titles right
Oh
after
yeah.
that year. So, and some real good players coming from there. I graduated from St. Augustine myself, and we played Curtis my freshman and sophomore year. And I tell you, there was some hellified battles against those and great talented teams in itself. But I gotta
Mm-hmm.
ask you this about your squad and everything. And the schedule really toughens you more than anything else. But Cecilia, what do you think about this environment that you're going into on Friday night? Do you think that tough schedule has propelled you for something like this? But we know Opelousas and Cecilia, this ain't the first time they're playing, but we know that the atmosphere either way is going to be crazy.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy, and I love it. That's why we schedule the way we schedule, man. Again, if you look at our schedule, man, we went out there to Turtis Catholic, a hostile environment. Natchitoches Central was hostile. Lake Charles College Prep had a good crowd, and then when we talk about going to play at Santa Mara in their house in the pit. That's another hostile environment, and we've been on the road. And I think that prepared us also to being on the road as much as it was this year. Man, those guys are veterans, and I tell them that all the time. Also, you're not freshmen anymore. Because you're freshmen, I understand you get deer in headlights when you see a big crowd and hostile people talking crazy. Say, man, we passed all that now, bro. We're a veteran. It's time to lock in, and really, you should have so much tunnel vision you don't even hit a crowd. That's how locked in you should be. As a player, you don't even hit a crowd. You just locked in on your assignment, and let's focus on dominating these people on Friday night.
Your team sets the tone offensively with the tandem of Zacchaeus, Malvo, and all-around great athlete Deshaun Ford. Can you tell us about how they've been leading this team this season, and also tell us about a couple of other players that have been kind of taking some pressure off them?
Well, man, I'm gonna start with the kids, man. He's the quarterback, it's in his hands, man. He's a sleeper, bro, and I tell anybody that, man. Every recruit that comes in, I tell them about Zach, man. The guy's a 4.40 legit. He can sling the ball, man. He can make every throw on the field. And he's starting to grow up. He's starting to mature. It took him a little while to get here, but again, I wouldn't expect it any other way because you got to take bumps and bruises and to learn what is expected of you as a quarterback and really understanding his position as a quarterback of a 4A program. That's not a small deal. That's a big deal. And he's starting to understand. He's starting to take charge of the huddle. You could just start hearing and the coach was talking about this other day in the office, like just to hear how they growing up right in front of us. Because we've been having these guys as freshmen. So to hear him command his huddle, tell her, hey, man, get in the huddle, dress it up. Hey, man, hurry up, get to the line. Just, hey, he checking certain things now. So we started to kind of loot Coach Bush and Coach Evans and Oliver them. They starting to trust him a little more with making checks at the line and seeing things. And he's taking on that role really well. To get on forward, man, you can't say enough about this kid, man. He brings his hard hat to work every day. Yes, sir, no, sir, kid, man. He goes hard in the weight room. And all he want to do is win, man. And whatever it takes for us to win as a team, he's gonna do it. He's out there kicking off the ball, running down on kickoff, and making tackles. So again, when you got a guy of that caliber doing that type of stuff, man, you're heading in the right direction because he's selfless. You know what I'm saying? He's putting the team before itself. Corey Amos is another one on the defensive side of the ball. We expecting to for him to have a great big game. Set the edge for us to get after the passing, man, and do what he do well. Isaiah Amos, that's the other running back. He takes a lot of pressure off of Ford. When he's tired, he comes in. And to me, they're like 1A, 1B. They're a good, nice 1-2 combo. He's ready to go. He's a senior, and he takes a lot of pressure off us, too. He's like a coach on the field. He comes back, tell us what he sees. Hey, coach, man, I think we could run this because they're doing this. That's the type of kid he is. K2 Corey, Corey Fontenot, he's the receiver. He's gonna take pressure off of Zach, man. All you gotta do is get it in his area, man. He's gonna try to catch the ball. He's gonna catch the ball. He just broke the in-game single season record for touchdowns. Last week he had 4 touchdowns in the game. So Corey's gonna take a lot of pressure off, man. And of course I can't go without mentioning the O-line, man. Because if you don't have the trenches, I mean, O-line and the D-line, you don't have the trenches, you ain't got nothing. I don't care about the running back. I don't care about a quarterback. If you ain't got them trenches, Cole, you're losing. And I'm a trench baby by heart, so I got to get them trenches love.
I get it, man. I'm a trenches dude too, man. I play that old line at St. Aug, so I
Well, you know how they go,
completely.
man. They gloss over us, man. You know, so you gotta get that old line their props, man. And the D
All
line.
day. I take that to heart every time I watch football. I look at that line in all levels and be like, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Or sometimes I don't like the effort. How you going to say that you're 5'9"? I'm like, dude, I had a lot of heart. I hit some people that were below. It's just the fact of the matter is, it's about the heart. It's about the technique. It's about your
That's
effort.
right.
You don't
That's
put
right.
no effort into it. Why you out there on the line? So
That's correct.
I take
That's
it very
correct.
serious.
You
But
got
regardless, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But regardless of the fact, if you guys can pull this thing off on the road, you know, we know Opelousas and Cecilia, they play in the rural areas in the woods. If you guys can get it done in Cecilia, do you think a win like this can really catapult your team going forward, especially going deep in the playoffs and make a deeper run?
Oh, without a doubt, man. I think this win will definitely give us the confidence we need to make a run at the championship, man. Because again, like I said earlier, we talk about here, man. Like we ain't just talking. We got a team that can actually do it. But again, talking about doing it and actually doing what it takes to go do it is 2 different things. So again, we don't want to talk the game. We want to go put the performance on the field that's necessary to get there. So if we do what we're supposed to do and don't get tricked and play our position and be coachable, I think we're gonna come out victorious.
George Peppers.
Coach Zachery, first of all, thank you for taking the time for joining us in advance of a really busy week. Big game Friday night. I just want to offer you my thank you for joining us. First question. You guys, 202-20. For those that don't know, that was the point margin you had in district last year. You guys ruled that district last year. The way y'all just dominated. And then y'all had the success in the playoffs that you had. My question to you, though, coming into this season, obviously the expectations are elevated. What did you foresee before the season started from your team, and what has come of it now? You've had a couple of tough losses, St. Amal and Turlings, but your team feels like a team that can do some big time damage when we get to that playoff setting.
Yeah, and this is something we talked about when we started our off season after the loss last year. Uh, Everybody know you can win now, so you can't sneak up on anybody anymore. Everybody knows you're a contender. Everybody sees that you have guys on your team getting offers. So guess what? Their coach is going to tell them, hey, guys, if you go compete against our OHS and you do well, you may get seen because they got college scouts looking at their guys. So everybody's going to give you their A game. We can't afford to come taking anybody lightly. You can't afford to come not bringing your A game because again, that's when you lose. You know, again, we took 2 losses to 2 great teams, man. Turner's is a great team. Santa Monica is a great team, man. And actually, I think Santa Monica still undefeated right now.
Yes.
But again, and that's again a loss is a lesson. We looked at the film. It would have did this different, did that different. Hey, who knows how the ball would have fell our way? But again, Santa Monica was the better team on that night.
Talking about your defense, let's talk about your defense because I feel like that's one of the biggest strengths of your team. You got some real alpha dogs on that defense, and tell me about your defense and your progression this year, and their progression, excuse me, this year up until this point.
I think we progressed well. My biggest challenge was getting our secondary on board. We lost Colorado last year in the secondary. Everybody else returned. And we was trying to we've been trying to find we found them, but the thing coming into this season was finding us a leader in the secondary, which he's emerged is Colin Fondo, number one, man. He communicates, he knows every position, he communicates very well, and for the most part, the same thing we talk about all the time. When we're talking to each other, we don't bust. When we leaving up for chance for somebody to think they know, or you don't leave nothing for chance. Hey man, be your brothers, let them know what's going on. And so once Colin understood that, and he started doing that, and they listening to him, I mean, we don't bust back there. And Colin's gonna give you everything he got, man. Colin is our leader, man. He's our captain of the defense, man, and he's doing really well. But that was one of our challenges coming into this year, was getting the secondary some ball. And for the most part, they
And for those,
really well.
gotcha. For those that don't know, Opelousas lost in one of the most heartbreaking ways you could lose a playoff game. They were 2 scores ahead inside of 6 minutes to go to Lakeshore and got beat 35-34. What was the message after that game, Coach? What did you tell your team? I mean, obviously the devastation of losing in the playoffs, but in that fashion, what was the message that you really expounded on your team coming into this year?
Remember the feeling, because you had a lot of crying, a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas. But again, we have an effect on the game because you're playing the game. There's no sense to cry now. But if I'd have did this, or if I'd have did this week, because a lot of things leading up to that game, we got out of that week, during that week of practice, that week of school, we was doing a lot of different things that we didn't do before. So all that type of little stuff catch up with you. So the message was simple. Hey, man, don't change your stride because you get a little success. Stay hungry. If anything, you should be hungrier. That's how you win a championship. You can't win a championship getting lax. And that's the message we preach to them every day, man. Stay hungry, man. Don't let the success, my coach would tell that, don't read your news clippings. Because that's when you start getting lax and you think you're more than what you is. And then somebody come along that's an underdog, that's a little hungrier than you, and they trip you up. And now we looking crazy because you come and taking somebody light. Instead of playing up to your level, you want to play down to your competition.
What's it gonna now? Let's talk about the game Friday night. Big matchup, and you pretty much expounded about the fact that this probably will be for district. I think a lot of us are going to agree with you in that respect.
Definitely.
What's it going to take for you guys to go into a very hostile place like Cecilia and win that game? And in the games before that, the road games that you've already had, how has that prepared you for a moment like this that's going to happen Friday night?
I think to answer the first part, Cecilia, man, we can't get tricked out of our positions. What I mean by that is Cecilia do a lot of different things, man. They'll do a speed sweep here, and the guy that getting a speed sweep may throw a double pass. So the discipline and the focus that we have to have, and not getting tricked and reading our keys, because they do a lot of different things on offense. They do a lot of motioning. Guys, keeping your eyes where they need to be, because the minute you get your eyes off of where it's supposed to be, the quarterback that they have, he'll crease you, man, and really hurt you really bad. So again, those things, offensive line blocking, because they do a lot of movement up front, they do a lot of movement on the back end. They do a lot of different things on defense. So we have our eyes up and know what we got, and keep and take our right steps, man. I think we're gonna be fine, man. But again, we have to do those things. It's not gonna be an easy feat, because against Cecilia they rule. So of course they want their title back, but we gotta come take it. We ain't gonna give it to them now.
That's right. That's right.
Can I answer the other question?
As we got 3 more games to go. The other question was about the road games that you already had, Turlings and St. Amal. How are those games preparing you for this game Friday night? It's an opponent, like you mentioned, Cecilia, that their wizardry on offense is really, really good. They've got a coach that, as you mentioned, was very aggressive. It's a formidable challenge. But how are the road games like you played this year against good opponents prepared you for this game Friday night?
But the same though. The fan base, man, the fan bases that we're seeing up until this point, we should have fans throwing cups at us, fans calling us all kind of different. Yeah, so we done been in hostile territory, hostile environment. That don't scare me at all. That don't scare our guys. But I was talking to some of the guys just to see what their head was today. Matter of fact, I was talking to Corey Amos today, and I was like, man, they say we overrated, huh? That's been the talk, we overrated or whatever. So like, man, coach, I ain't worrying about that, coach. We just gonna see when we line up. When you hear guys like that saying that type of stuff, we ain't gotta bark back at you on the internet or nothing like that. We gonna let the past do the talking, and the best man gonna win.
Seems like you guys are locked in for this game, and you should be. It's for the district title potentially. Last question before I turn it over, and I've asked every coach this since it's happened. We're going to stay in the same playoff format as we did last year, which ideally isn't what everybody wants. I mean, I think the prevailing thought is that we would like to see ultimately a reunion, but this is what we've got, and it actually worked last year. What is your position on this format? And do you think there'll be a day where we can reunite selects and non selects, privates and publics, and play under one banner?
I think I honestly I liked it. I did. I liked it. I thought it was a fair shake for everybody. And you had more opportunities for kids to get in the playoffs. But at the same time, I'm like Coach Skains. I would like it to be one. It is what it is. And let the chips fall where they lead. Now it ain't no star no asterisk by my name if I win a state title. I'm the outright 4A
Exactly.
champion. I'm the outright 5A champion or whatever class you're in. Again, I would be happy to win a championship. I want to win a championship. Will it be harder? Yeah, but I mean, why you play the game?
Right.
I mean, you want to go against the best. I mean, if this is what we're really talking about, going against the best and the best of the best, and at the end of the day, it's only one man standing. There's only one way to do it. Like, honestly.
Coach Zachery, thank you for joining us. We truly appreciate it. Good luck this Friday night against Cecilia, and good luck to you and your team throughout the rest of the season, my man.
I appreciate it. Go Tigers.
Yes, sir. Coach
Thank
Zachery
you,
of the
sir.
Opelousas High Tigers. All right, guys, we do have to pick that game still, George. We did not pick that game because we have both coaches on the show. So, in a little bit, we're going to pick that game. But I want to go back to where we were last night, talking about VK's top five. Give George a chance to respond to VK's top five after this commercial break right here on the Hash It Out show.
Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area, move. Clear my area. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome back to the Hash It Out show. Those of you who are joining us for the first time ever, and those who are joining us who had never clicked that subscribe button, if you're watching through YouTube, please click that subscribe button. Also, if you're watching on Facebook through the Hash It Out show page, click that follow button. We truly appreciate it. Miss Tamika Zachery, I know she subscribed to the YouTube page a little while ago. I got that notification. Thank you, ma'am. Go Tigers. Opelousas High. VK, I got a couple family members in Opelousas. I know you didn't know that either.
No, I didn't know that.
So, My mom's side of the family's in Lake Charles. Her dad is from Opelousas. So,
Wow.
so if Coach Zachery and Miss Tamika Zachery, they know any Joe Bears out there in Opelousas, that's my family. So,
Mm.
yeah, VK, yeah, I'm everywhere, VK. You know, what can I say?
It's a blessing that your family is such expanded from River Parish all the way throughout to the state. You know what I'm saying? Like my family of origin, my family came from Badgery, Louisiana. Then it went to the West Bank and it spread more than anything else. But it was originally from there. But to have your family connected and all that from that time, that side is amazing. Because I tell you, I like my family wound up moving. A lot of them moved out because they're spread out from Texas to Ohio to Chicago all the way to Florida. So, but hey, man, that's amazing stuff.
Breaking news: the Las Vegas Aces just won the 2023 WNBA championship back to back, 70-69. Courtney
Wow,
Vandersloot missed the game winning 3-pointer. So the Las Vegas Aces, who I said would
wow.
win it in four, wins it in four. Who said New York would win? Was that? I
That'd be
thought
me.
so.
And here's the thing: big ups going to the Aces tonight. And here's the thing: I really thought there could be Aces in five, and it would have been a great chance. It was going to go in five. Chelsea Gray did not play tonight. And the thing was, she's 50% of their offense because she averages 16, 17 a game and over 10 assists in the playoffs. So with her being out and Kia Stokes being out, that would have been a kind of a huge void for the Aces. I knew it was going to be close regardless of the fact, but I was thinking the way it was looking earlier, the Liberty gave these people a lot of trouble. And I was thinking, might go to game five, but big ups going to Asia Wilson and company. They stepped it up in the
Yep.
clutch as harder champions do and got it done. And that big time ups to them.
First repeat champion since the Los Angeles Sparks. For 20 years.
Yep.
Long time.
Actually,
I don't.
wait. Los Angeles Sparks was the last repeat.
Yes. Because Houston won the first four, the Sparks won the next
Okay.
two. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Deal done.
Go ahead,
But
George.
I was just going to opine. Look, after the first three games, the fact that it even went for is something to behold. With the way Las Vegas dominated game one and then walloped them in game two, and really rendered New York's big guns useless. You didn't think this thing was going four, let alone five. And look, I, I don't ever want to say a team got overconfident, but you mentioned Gray and Stokes not playing tonight, VK. I wonder if the Liberty thought, well, we got this in the bag. We're going to get on the plane to Vegas and some winner take all. And I don't, and look, Becky Hammond, heck of a job winning this championship for Las Vegas. And, congratulations to them. They were the best team all year. I feel like we were a little bit robbed of an entertaining final. I don't think this was entertaining at all. Game three, yeah, the Liberty stepped up and got it done tonight. I wonder if they felt a little slight bit of like, oh, we got this. They're missing their big guns. We're going to get this. We'll just slow down Asia and we'll be fine. Nope, didn't happen. Vegas showed you some grit and resilience. Got it done.
New
Congratulations.
York was up by
And,
double digits at one time. And shout out to Candace Parker getting her third ring. Now I just want to know if she's going to continue to play for another year or if she's going to retire. Time will tell.
all right.
We'll see.
And then
Yeah.
and the numbers on Asia Wilson, she should get most outstanding player, 24 points and 16 rebounds, all defensive rebounds in itself.
Yes, sir. All right. So if you was with us last night, man, we got down and dirty about VK's top five. He spit out facts about teams beating other teams that's was made better competition and Destrehan not beating the same type of teams. Okay, fine, but we'll tell it like it is. Like Destrehan is still one of the best teams in the state. But our good friend George Peppers couldn't be with us last night, so we're gonna give him the opportunity to speak about VK's top five. And of course, we'll hear about Destrehan still not being in the top five. And I'll let VK respond back to GP. And then we'll go from there. Because we're going to end it after today.
Oh boy.
And then Sunday, we'll be right back at it. But GP, I'll let you go first, and then I'll let my man VK respond.
And if you can post my top five, I'd like to opine on that. And I have a question for y'all as well. There's a question I asked you, JB, that I'm going to ask on the air in a little while. I'm going to wait. It's about a team that's not in the top five. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But where do we start? The top team in the top class, in the top non-division, non-select, is not in your top, and the reigning state champions. And I hear VK's explanations. And look, first of all, let me say this: I respect the hell out of you, dog. We've both done this together. We got in this business together. We love each other, and that is not any question in that. And this is the part where we're going to agree to disagree because I'm just going to straight tell you, Destro, it's blasphemous that Destro not in his top five. I mean, you got other entities. I bet 90% of other entities have put them one or two. I've got them two. And I feel like that's one of the best teams in the state. But your top five, for the most part, I don't have a real issue with. Now, I look at you got Lafayette Christian tied with St. Thomas More. I'm sure, of course, that tie's going to be broken in week 10 when they get it on, right? But I just, there's a lot of things that were said, about your top five, and like I said, I respect the hell out of you, dude. Love you like a brother. There's no question. I just can't fathom in my head how this Destran team is not in anybody's top five, let alone yours. Not that these five are any less worthy. Not saying that at all, because you got one, two, three reigning state champions in your top five: Carr, St. Charles, St. Thomas More. They're all defending champions. I just feel like Destran should be in there somewhere. And you've expounded your reasons. I get it. I just look. We're going to agree to disagree. And my top five, JB, if you could put it
Yes,
up.
sir.
All right. Because I want to talk about that one. And it's going to lead into the question I have for the both of you. As you could see, Car one and Destran two. I made a flip this week. St. Thomas one ahead of St. Charles. And the reason I did that, St. Charles struggled a little bit early last week at St. Martinville. That game was close until the 7-minute mark of the third quarter, and then they started to check out. I don't know if I was visually impressed. I thought there was a little bit of like dent in the armor, perhaps, maybe. And then I put Ruston. But the one team that I don't have in there that I thought about putting is not Lafayette Christian. There's a reason why Ruston's there and LC is not. Ruston beat them people on the field. They beat them. But the one team, now this leads into this question, that's not there that I think merits big consideration, but they didn't crack any of our top fives. And that's the Cavaliers of Calvary Baptist. Those dudes have been seriously good this year. They whacked Westgate a couple of weeks ago, a team we're going to see Friday night. Calvary is a 1A school, and Westgate's a 5A school by population. And Calvary beat them. So the question I have is to the both of you, what's it going to take to put the Cavaliers in this top five?
I'll go first. Number one, I just don't think they're better than the top five that I have. And it's the same feeling with St. Charles Catholic. Are they like top 10? Pretty much, yeah. But I'm gonna say this: the Karen Crow Bears also can make a statement. Karen
Yep.
Crow has Southside. They beat Southside already. Karen Crow got a one loss Sam Houston, then they got Acadiana, and then they got to come to Shaw. So Acadiana, I'm sorry, Karen Crow can definitely make a statement to reach my top five with those wins. I'm not forgetting even about Zachery. So Zachery, St. Charles, Calvary Baptist, and what I just mentioned, Karen Crow, all right there in the runnings. All right there in the runnings. I have not forgotten about those teams. But right now, for Calvary Baptist. I don't think they're better than Edna Carr, Ruston, Destrehan, St. Thomas More, and Lafayette Christian. I don't think they're better. VK? VK,
VK.
you answer this question and you can reply back to George about why he disagrees with you.
Yes, I'm gonna definitely get it right here. Lafayette. I think you look at Calvary Baptist. They're definitely coming up. They're definitely a great team. They're definitely really really good, and I think they're as good as some of these teams. They're a team that could break the top five soon, but also I gotta agree with Jared on Karen Crow. I gotta agree with him on Zachary. Zachary, they're really coming up under the radar. And this team is about to sneak up on some people bad, in a bad way. So I like them too. And also, Destrehan is gonna be up in there too. But I think Calvary Baptist eventually will be cracking my top five. Eventually. But not right now, but they'll definitely get there. Uh I'm about to tell you, George, about why I didn't put the Destrehan thing at number 5 right there. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why in a second. But the only thing I'm gonna disagree with you on, like you said, you wasn't impressed at St. Charles Catholic, over
St. Martinville.
St. Charles Catholic victory over St. Martinville. St. Charles Catholic had to play in a hostile environment, and you still got to say St. Martinsville is still a talented team, and it's a 4A team. For St. Charles Catholic to have to go into a hostile environment to come back and win that game, to me is more impressive than STM what they did. What STM did, yeah, they dominated, but that's against Northside. Northside is not even close to what the barometer of St. Thomas More is. So that alone, I understand why you put STM up there, but I kind of disagree with you on that. I'd have kept St. Charles Catholic number 3 because that victory there is huge in itself. We understand St. Martinsville is having not that good of a season, but still, that's a big win on the road. That's not an easy place to win. But for Destrehan, not for them to crack in the top 5. I already put my evidence yesterday. I'm gonna explain to you, George. I'm looking at my top 5 here. 4 out of the top 5, George, has at least 3 to 4 wins against top 20 competition. Top 20 competition. 3 to 4 wins out of the 5 teams. Do you know the team that has the least wins against a top 20 or a top is that Nicole? And Nicole only has what 2 to 3 wins against the top 20. Against Easton, against Brother Martin, against Jesuit. St. Aug was up there. Now St. Aug's not even in the playoff picture. Now you look at Destrehan. The 2 biggest wins. Now Terrebonne was a good win. The 2 biggest wins on their schedule was Bonnable, John Eric, 16 and 17. Those are their biggest top 20 wins on the schedule. Now, it's not Destrehan's fault that Destrehan scheduled the way it
Wait,
was.
Destrehan's 2 biggest wins are who?
Bonnable, John Eric. Bonnable 16, John Eric 17 in the power
And
rankings.
Select. I got you.
Yep. Now, if East Ascension would have had a better year this year, different story. Different story. They would definitely that would make Destrehan definitely the top 5. But East Ascension having a disappointing year. Hanville, not even close to what they are. The only one not having a bad year either, but everybody else on the bottom of the barrel. Look who they're playing this week, Sulphur. Sulphur has not been back to snuff in years. Now, the thing now is East St. John in a couple weeks. They win that, George Peppers, I promise you, Destrehan might have the biggest boost on the VK Jones top 5 out of all the teams all year if they get the win over East St. John in a couple weeks. Mark my words. But this is why They're not on the top 5. I feel like this is a week per week thing, and you look at not just the best teams in the state, but also what they do each week. It's like college football playoff. What you do in strength of schedule is vital.
Okay. I've heard everything you've had to say. And I'm not mad.
Nobody's mad.
I'm just, no, and anybody who has that impression out there listening, no, it's a healthy debate. Ranking these teams is an inexact science. There's criteria that we all use, and this is what we do. But it's three guys espousing opinions, but the passionate aspect of it is what really permeates. We've got 3 more weeks, and then the seedings will be fair and whatnot. Why? Because the numbers are going to crunch right. That's why we have one of the greatest systems of power rankings in the state, and whoever calculates it, that dude deserves a ribbon, medal, whatever you want to give him. Any accolade you want, give it to him or her, whoever it is. I don't even know, but that computer geek is doing it absolutely right because we're going to have a good playoff system. Ideally, I would love to reunite, but we'll see about that in January. Now, I do know this, Jared. For season 2 of the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week, if Destrehan features in one of those games, man, I don't know, bro. I don't know if we can bring VK with us. Them dudes might be hunting.
It's funny.
They might be hunting.
Funny how we were saying that last year when Destrehan had to play Ruston, and the whole year last year was Ruston. And now,
and then he picked Destrehan.
And then he went with Destrehan.
And he picked
go against
Destrehan.
Marcus Scott.
Sellouts.
Now he goes against Marcus Scott, saying that they're not a top 5 team overall, but Ruston is.
Listen.
Yeah.
What's up? I know what y'all trying to do.
No, we're not trying to do anything. We just stated what happened last year and what's going on now.
Yes,
that's all we said.
I'm just saying what's going on now. All you Destrehan fans, there's no hate to Destrehan, period, from VK Jones. This is This is one of the best programs in the state. This is a very good program and is a proven program. So that's what I gotta say.
It should be ranked in the top 5.
Not right now. George, I understand, brother. I get it, but you're not changing my mind. You're not.
I ain't trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to wake up.
I can't wake up. I'm sorry. Like I said before, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it again. No, I'm gonna say it again, like I told Jared last night. And Jared could not answer that question.
Whoa. What question I didn't answer last night? What question?
You know what question?
Yeah, what question? I missed it. So
you know what question? You know what question I said last night
about
the journalist? You forgot? I said name me another top 20 win from Destrehan on the schedule I talked about last night. You just named 2.
20 win from Destrehan.
A top 20 win outside of John Eric and Bonneville.
In regards to the power ranking.
Terrible.
Yes.
Terrebonne's 22 in there. They're not
Terrible.
22. They're not 20.
And I sat there and said, there was not any, but Destrehan is still one of the best teams in the state, and they are a top 5 team in the state. That's what I said.
Exactly. But I also said that, and also would you also say, the journalists? Well, they say the journalists are freaking blind.
Oh, they blind now. Oh God! You get that joke? Yeah, they blind. Oh man!
I'm sorry, dude. Come on, bro. If you're going to go, listen. If you're going to go with strength of no disrespect to none of these sports writers, they do a great job. They do an unbelievable job. What?
But you just call them blind.
You cannot.
I guess Jared Rose are blind too, huh?
I'm like this. You cannot tell me that, okay, Destrehan's one of the top. Yes, I respect that. But you can't name me another dang on win. We got to go with strength of schedule And it's just facts. Down the line, does Destiny have a chance to win it all again? Yes. That's my straight up opinion. Yes.
That is a lot right
They
there.
have a chance to go back to back. And I wouldn't be surprised they do go back to back.
This is a lot right there.
But I'm just sticking to my
Let me.
convictions. That's all it is. You cannot tell me,
Okay.
like you look at a Rustin outside, and we're not counting Warren Easton one more time. You're counting at least 4 wins in the top 20 alone on their schedule. St. Thomas More, you counted 4 wins in the top 20 alone. Lafayette Christian, you counted 3 top 20 victories alone. St. Charles Catholic, who probably has the best resume out of everybody, we count 5 top 20 wins. 5. I'm just saying, dude.
Why are you yelling?
I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's all. Just saying.
Can I respond now?
Go right ahead, man.
Go
Go right ahead. Get him. Get him.
All right. Let me exactly because I feel a Booker T right now. What was it in the prime with the Harlem Heat? No, in the WWE when he was a singles competitor. Tell me he did not just say that. That's in reference to what you said about the sports writers are blind. Tell me he did not just say that. He did. Now I have a question that's going to squash this argument. Mute. What has Destrehan done wrong, VK? What have they done wrong?
I just
What I'm asking, what did they?
explained it. Hold up. Wait, time out. I just explained that earlier. I said it's not their fault that the schedule is what it was. I don't think they done anything wrong. I said it
Okay,
myself that it's not their fault that the schedule is the way it was at all. The biggest thing, like I said, if a couple teams would had a better season than they are, oh, this is a different story. We thought East Ascension was going to have a good year. We
Yeah.
but they haven't.
all thought of that, and
Yeah.
they didn't.
All
Convent,
right.
we was hoping that maybe they could be competitive some way, somehow, but they're not. It's just
Mm-mm.
a fact. Last year was like I said, last year for Destroyer was a huge difference. Regardless of that, we rewarded them for one reason only. There was an experienced team. They had some good wins on the schedule, but besides all that, that was a team that went to the semis a couple years ago, and we knew that this is a team that could come back and probably, maybe, possibly win the whole thing.
I don't think Destrehan went to the semis with Jai Eugene as quarterback.
Yes, they did. The
When?
year
What year?
before. The year before the
In
year
21,
in
21.
21?
21.
Who they played?
Let me go back. I'm
they
about to go
lost
back.
to West. No,
I'm about
wasn't
to
it
find it.
Westgate?
No, it wasn't Wesley. I'm
No,
about
it
to find
wasn't
it.
Gate. They beat
Oh,
Westgate
Westgate
last.
beat Carr on the way to the Dome. Hold up,
I'm about to find it.
Westgate beat in the car on the way to the Superdome, correct? Because
That's it.
VK, you
A
did
couple years
that
ago.
game. Yeah, that was 21.
21, 5A.
Well, select whatever it
They
was
lost to Zachary.
in the
He's right.
semis.
Timmons.
In the semis. He's
Okay,
right. He's right for the second
that was
time.
your boy Eli Holstein.
He's
That's
right.
it.
Second time in his life. All right.
Damn! Wow. Okay, pot shot.
All right, guys. We're going to leave the Desert Hand and the World Top 5
Yeah.
alone till we come back next week. We discuss it next week.
This is just the most interesting thing that we had talked about all season
hmm
long. You know what I'm saying? I feel proud of myself that sometimes you got to stand on your ground sometimes, and that's just what it is.
You can stand on your ground.
And I apologize to all the sports writers. Don't mean to call you that.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. You call
I have
y'all that.
nothing but
Robert
respect.
Fanbro, Jimmy Watson, Mike Coppage. Oh, yeah. You did it, bro.
I did do it.
Even Ken Trahan. God darn.
I did. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Look, there's no disrespect to none of y'all. You vote who you vote. That's what your opinion. I just feel the fact of the matter is, hey, it's just a fact. I just go with what I'm going on. Sometimes I have to figure things out and be like, hey, when I see something wrong with something, I need to figure it out. If there's enough facts on the table, and there's times we had discussions before, all three of us, there's sometimes that I had to change my mind on certain things because, okay, if there's some good proof, some kind of good facts, all right, I'm convinced. I kind of changed my mind on it, but some things I can't. I just can't right now. But we know the change is coming. You know the change. Who knows? Who knows? If this top five gets shaken up, who knows? This team out of St. Charles Parish might crack the top five next week.
Yeah, like
They
Kenwood.
might crack the
Like
top
Kenwood
five
cracked
next
your
week.
top five, right? Kenwood. Yeah.
No, you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, now you know what I'm talking about. All right.
I'm just saying, Kenwood had their time, and their time is
They
over.
shouldn't have had it time.
Look, man.
Sorry, they shouldn't
I
have.
know when Kenwood win it all, somebody gonna be feeling sick, and somebody
I
gonna
ain't
be
still
like,
sick. I'm gonna say they tell you they still send me in the top five, even if they win it all in Division 4.
well, it's all good. But all I know, I got one team that's the top five that's the state champion. So hey,
We got
you can call
one
you can call Mr.
team
Kenwood
that's in
all
the
day.
top five state. Okay,
Yeah.
we've had Strand in there. Me and George. We got Carr, STM. So I don't know. All right, here we go. Moving on. Let's get to this pick. Opelousas Tigers versus the Cecilia Bulldogs. A lot on the line. A district championship and big time power ranking points. As you can see, Cecilia number 6 in the power rankings. Opelousas is number 8. Big time points on the line right here. VK Jones, I'm gonna let you go first. Who you got winning this game?
Woo. It's a tight ball game. Tight ball game here. Man. My heart is saying Dennis Skains and Cecilia, but my head is going with Opelousas. I think they're battle tested. I think they're ready to go. They expect this game. I wouldn't be surprised if they go down to a field goal or touchdown. I like Opelousas to win that game.
GP.
And this is why you bring back all those starters. For a game like this, 17 starters are back. Suffered a brutal playoff loss against Lakeshore, 35-34, giving up a two-score lead inside of the 6-minute mark. This game is why Opelousas, and look, both coaches were outstanding. Jimmy Zachery and Dennis Skains, they're great men, leaders of young men. Love them both. I mean, but you got to pick it with the head. VK, you're right. I'm going Opelousas, but this is going to be an extremely difficult football game, twofold because of the environment and the style of what Cecilia does. I mean, they can run it at you, but they can do a lot of trickeration too. Opelousas, they can meet the challenge. I think this is a game that gets into the 30s for both teams, but the Tigers find a way to win it late. Opelousas is my pick.
Man, a lot of good games going down in that Lafayette area. I mean, we got the Hatch It Out Show game of the week. Lafayette Kristen versus Westgate,
Westgate.
which I'll talk about in a second. You got Karen Crow going to Sam Houston. Acadiana at Southside. It is going to be jumping up and down in that Lafayette area. But this game here, man, it's going to determine a lot. Like I said, district championship, higher seeding in the power rankings for Division Two non-select, which just got a bunch of teams ready to rock and roll with Assumption, Wasserman, North DeSoto, West Feliciana, Lutcher, Cecilia, Opelousas, Jennings, Highway, Leesville. Man, so competitive. But I think Deshaun Ford, the running back, has a big game. I got Opelousas winning. Opelousas with the win.
Whew.
Yep.
Well, I guess if I tell you one thing, man, if Cecilia find a way to win that game, boy, then this game is gonna be laughing at us. I'll tell you that.
We'll take it. We'll
Yeah,
take
we'll,
it.
we'll take it. We'll definitely take it. Number love for Dennis Gaines. Number love.
Without a doubt. Now, before we get out of here, Hash It Out Show game of the week. Lafayette Kristen versus the Westgate Tigers. You can catch the game on tsbnsports.com. Pregame 620. game, 7 o'clock. We are doing the audio broadcast of that game. All three of us. We invite you all to tune in and listen to that audio broadcast. Two good teams. Both teams have won state titles. Big time district matchup. I can't wait. I'm excited. One to me the best player in the state of Louisiana in person again. I get to see Westgate and all their players. Jabari Antoine's hurt. We don't get to see him, but we get to see Tobias Gordon, Amari Simon, Travius Lively. There's so many we get to see play. Also, Melvin Hills, the D tackle at Lafayette Christian, he's going to Texas. Lafayette Christian. Westgate got a D tackle going to LSU. I can't think of his name right now. So many players, star studded, and man, it's gonna be a great one. George Peppers, your thoughts?
I wonder this. One of the keys for me, from the Lafayette Christian side of things, did they over impress last week at Turlings to the thought process of, oh wow, Westgate, Jabari Antoine is out. Oh, we're going to just go in there and crush them. Guys, there's a thing called pride, and Westgate has it. That's why I'm excited about this matchup. That's the great unknown. I feel like the atmosphere is going to be really good. Westgate, look, we saw them in the Superdome a couple of years ago. Those cats travel, and man, do they! And going into that cauldron of noise that we're going to go into Friday night, it's going to be outstanding. Seeing a view of the stadium, that press box it looks like the Taj Mahal. So it does. And just the atmosphere is what I'm looking for. And the car, of course, the car ride is going to be entertaining for sure. That 2 hour trip we're going to take, it's going to carry, but it is what the game itself. Lafayette Christian VK is the favorite, but as I mentioned, did they peak against Sterling's Catholic? The way they won that game, 62-3, and it was 48-0 at half. Did they overdo it last week? And they feel and maybe they're going to come into Westgate and not so much disrespect them. I don't mean it in that angle. What I mean is that, well, we don't have to really do it because Jabari's not playing. Westgate's still a plenty good team. That's a pretty good football team there that can do some things once Jabari gets back. Hopefully, he gets back in time for them to make some kind of run because that's a proud program, proud coaching staff, proud, students. You want to see that, but that's the factor I'm looking at. Is did LC do too much last week, and maybe they may underestimate Westgate.
And I think Hunter Landry talked about that. Head coach of Lafayette Christian talked about that last night, and that's the biggest message he sent to his team all week long. That hey, you can come up here with your big head if you want to. Westgate ain't gonna remember what you did last week.
Nope.
So I think Friday's gonna be very interesting. I think though the experience of Westgate has a chance. It's gonna be interesting in itself. You have to think. Remember, they suffered a whole lot of injuries last season, and then they came along really, really well because of all that the battle testing and all that. And the experience back this year, now dealing with a major injury. And those seniors, they know that they have not got a signature win against the big three in that district. So they're looking for that first big win against those guys in that second year in that district. So this is the first big shot they got because they got Lafayette Christian and STM 2 weeks at home, probably the two biggest home games Westgate is gonna have in a long time. So it's a chance for them to try to get it done. It's gonna be interesting to see this Friday night. The biggest thing for Westgate, they have to fire the first shot. They have the first shot. If they have a shot in this game Friday night, it's gonna be a hell of a ball game. I cannot wait on Friday to call this game. We cannot wait to hit those. This has been awesome, man. This Hash It Out Show game of the week has been unbelievable. We're continuing to grow. The numbers are going crazy. We thank you for all the support, the love, the sponsorships, all that stuff, bro. This is unbelievable. What we got in the next 3 weeks is unbelievable. presidented.
Well, yes, we do. And I got some breaking news right quick. Some breaking news that might be coming out very, very soon in regards to a school being shut down for football the rest of the year. There was another incident with Warren Easton last week, another fight with Warren Easton. And word is that the LHSAA is supposedly going to shut them down from football the rest of the year. I can say this. Warren Easton junior varsity team was supposed to play Shaw junior varsity team tonight. And Warren Easton called Shaw and canceled that game. I can say that much to it. So we'll see what happens down the line if this turns out to be true. But I do know they called Shaw and canceled their JV game. It's been one thing after another for Warren Easton this year. From can't go to the playoffs, illegal players, and then you're having fights happen. Just not the year Coach Phillips and that school wanted to have, VK.
All I'm gonna tell you is this: this is gonna be one hell of an off season for Warren Easton. This is gonna be one hell of an off season. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of evaluations going on from the top administration to the bottom. It's gonna be a real hot and interesting off season. A lot more than St. Augustine. A whole lot more. Because this is very vital and critical. And I know there's going to be still athletes being signed for Warren Easton. Fred Robinson just announced that he's verbally committed to Louisiana Tech,
Stick 'em dogs.
and hopefully he'll stick to that on signing day. But at the same time, how many more will get signed from Warren Easton? Because if not, if there's not a lot of, because here's the thing: when you see things like this, like Fred has been on radar. Fred has been on radar. Foster has been a little bit on radar, but things have been the office been kind of declining a bit.
Declining because he already verbally committed. That's why.
Okay. Yeah. So he's verbally committed, but also another thing is, how many else is going to get signed if they're looking at what Easton is doing and stuff? Can these coaches can stick with some of these players regardless of what's going on? Because certain coaches don't like that, don't like bad character.
Of course.
And they're not gonna even try to sign. It's like, nah, we don't want this kid. So I hope Warren Easton has multiple players being signed. If not, ooh, that's gonna really hurt too. So it's gonna be an interesting off season coming up for Warren Easton from the top all the way down.
George Peppers.
The first thing I would do if I'm Warren Easton, but they're too cowardly to do it.
Oh, don't say they cowardly. Don't say that, George. Don't say that.
Okay, I know it's a strong word.
Yeah, don't.
Okay, I can backtrack, but I feel like the incident that got them in trouble, where two coaches went to Morello Middle and did what they did. That's what got busted. That got them busted. The fight against Douglas last week, the numerous fights. It sounds like a program run amok. There's no head right now on that program. See ya, Jerry Phillips. That's the first move I make if I'm Warren Easton.
Ooh,
You couldn't beat Carr.
I don't know,
Hold up.
George. I don't know
Let
about
me
that.
explain.
I
Let me
know. This is
explain.
why
There's a
I get it, but I don't know.
No, let me explain why. Look at the pattern we've seen this year. You had, of course, like I mentioned, the incident that got them crushed by the LHSA. Then you had, excuse me, then you got destroyed by Carr in a year that everyone in the New Orleans area, just about everyone except you, Jared, and to credit to you for sticking to your guns, that a numerous majority of people thought, well, this is the year because the talent gap is right there. Warren Easton is better, and this is the year they're going to get it. They got embarrassed on the biggest stage of the season. Clark destroyed them people. And then Frederick Douglass, look, they won that game easy, but there were numerous fights numerous fights, and that tells me that program has just fallen off the wayside as far as discipline goes. And if I'm the administrators of Warren Easton, the AD, the principal, Jerry Phillips, look, you've done a lot. You've put this program on relevant ground, but this year I got to move off of you. I got to move off of you because I see a pattern that is extremely disturbing. What's to say it doesn't repeat itself next year with him? You don't know that. None of us know that. But I think it's one of those situations. I know it's a hot take. It's an extremely hot take, but I've thought about this, and I've honestly thought about this and I'm one of the biggest advocates of discipline and programs being run right. The two coaches we interviewed tonight, Dennis Skains and Jimmy Lack, and
Jimmy Zachery.
I just lost
Dennis
off.
Skains.
Jimmy Zachery from up. I said Skains. I meant Jimmy Zachery.
Gotcha.
Look at how they've run their programs. When you win and you do it the right way, that's rewards. You know, and Jerry Phillips is a good coach, but there have been times where he has failed that school more than they want, and a lot of those were against Carr. The championship against Westgate, the play calling late in that game. Warren Easton should be a state champion right now, but they're not. I see a pattern where this program has regressed, and the discipline factor has gone completely out the window. And if I'm the administrators, the principal, whoever makes this decision, got to move on for Jerry Phillips and find a coach that's going to restore the discipline factor and reinstall the pride factor because that has fallen by the wayside too.
I'm going to say this because I kind of disagree with you. When have you heard about Warren Easton being in fights on the football field under Jerry Phillips' watch since he's been there? I've
This year.
This year, one fight,
Okay.
right? One
Right.
fight. Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
And then you heard about in the offseason with Kennedy and Jerry Phillips, the first thing he did was call Elphage and say, hey, let's have a joint practice. Whatever beef they had, we got to squash it. That was Jerry Phillips and Coach Elphage. I don't know no other incident where they got into a fight. I don't know nothing else. Jerry Phillips made Warren Easton a powerhouse. Yeah, Coach Hall
Yep.
got them to a championship game, but Jerry Phillips got them up here. He's gotten them to the dome 3 times. Now they lost all 3 times, and maybe should have won maybe 2 out of the 3 for sure. It just didn't happen. You never heard nothing bad from any players from Warren Easton while he was there. So I disagree with you. So here's a year now where everything just went away. All goals that you had wanted to achieve, gone. What you had to play for this year? Oh, we got to beat Carr. That's it. Just let's go beat Carr. And then let's beat John Eric because they're the ones supposedly reported us. You lose the Carr, which was really your state championship. So besides John Eric, what else is there to play for? Really was nothing. Nothing to play for at all. So now you playing a game. You might not even want to even play. You're like, what are we playing for? We can't go to the playoffs. You just destroyed the mind. And then we don't know what's going on the field. We don't know if somebody doing something we don't know, playing dirty. We don't know. And then the fights break out. I cannot sit here and say, Jerry Phillips, that's your fault. You lost a car again. All this happening this year, you got to go. I totally disagree with you on that. I think Jerry Phillips is the right man to bring back. Something happened. He's been trying to motivate these kids the whole year with something to play for. And guess what? They got off to a 3-0 start on the field. You beat Ruston. You beat Catholic. You beat 2 big teams. And then you lost the car. All right? But you hadn't really lost since then. You really haven't. You still been winning games. So obviously they still playing for something. But you had an unfortunate situation happen in a fight. Jerry Phillips has done everything that he can. He's been on top of those guys. He's been a disciplinarian. I totally disagree with you on that one. He should not be fired. Not at all. VK.
If anybody needs to be fired, to be honest with you, it should start from the top of administration at Warren Easton. Why nobody stepped in and told it just I'll just be supportive of Jerry, but step in certain things and say, hey, we need to slow down. We got a train that's running off the track, and we got to stop it some way, somehow. The administration have not stepped in, not a one. Not a one. That's who needs to be gone. Now, if they bring in the new administration at Warren Easton, don't be surprised Jared Phillips be the first target gone, because we have seen it in too many schools when new administration come in, old coaches are out the door. They might keep them, but some coaches like, hey, I want to bring in my guy. You see that every time. So, and I think, to be honest with you, and I'm going to say this, Warren Easton fans, please be grateful. Please be grateful, people. Because let me tell you something right now. And I said it before, years ago, with all that stuff that Jerry Phillips took. And I'm going to say it again. Remember what the program you were in the 90s. You were nothing. First round, you're gone. Every year. And then all of a sudden, the emergence of Tony Hall, who built the program from the ground up, taking over for Steve Costa and took a program to a level they've never been. Got into a state championship the first time since the 50s. You tasted success. You tasted the dome. You tasted something my alma mater never tasted since the 70s. You tasted it. You didn't get the title. I get it. I totally get it. But you tasted it. Be grateful for the success that happened. This season didn't go the way it's supposed to go, because right there and there, you just like, hey, you know, well, what we going to fight for? Coach Jerry Phillips was stuck between a rock and a hard place this season. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place. High expectations for a great team, but your main cog and thing, your goal is out the window and gone. You got nothing. And it's just the fact that the administration has done not a good, they might have backed Jerry, but they didn't do enough as an administration to step in on some things to make sure everything was in control. And that's just what it is. And like I said before, I'm going to say it again. The fans need to be grateful, because guess what? When Jerry Phillips is gone, if you don't find that replacement for Phillips that's as good as Phillips, guess what's about to happen? You about to go back to the 90s and winning 6-7 games and losing the first round like you ain't nothing. You better be grateful for what you have, because sometimes you don't know if you're ever going to see it again.
I'm going to say one thing, and I'll let George respond. Coach Mo said the season should have never been played. Those kids had nothing to play for. I can understand and see how you're looking at it. I do. But I'm going to say this, and I want you to hear me out on this one. I'm going to use you for an example, Coach Mo. What if you're a senior this year, and you get told that happens, but we got to play, and you getting letters from colleges, but you never got that official letter that says you've been offered a scholarship? I think you're gonna want to play. I think you would want to play, and I think some players on that Warren Easton football team were in that predicament, trying to at least get that one scholarship from a Southeastern or HBCU somewhere to continue their um their football career. And I agree with you right there. I agree with you on that one. The seniors should have been allowed to transfer. But then again, you still got juniors trying to get that scholarship. So I agree with you on that one. But we all knew in April. We all knew. It just never came out on the news. Yes, we knew. But that's just my 2 cents. George, I'll give you the last word on this. And we're gonna close the show.
I mean, I'm gonna stand my ground here. It's no, I'm not. I don't hate Jerry Phillips.
Oh, we know.
I
Yeah, we
just
know.
see
We just taking your opinion
it's
about it.
nothing. It's just it's just I see a very disturbing pattern, and I can't find a real comparison point at this juncture. I was actually trying to go into the memory bank a little bit, um, and try to find a similar trend in high school in Louisiana, and I can't think of nothing that jumps off at me really. Um, Look, I got the maddest respect in the world for Jerry Phillips. I mean, did I question what happened in the 21 final against Westgate in that sequence where the play calling went a little bit astray? Sure. But again, as VK and you astutely point out, that dude has put that program back on the map. They've been to multitudes of state championships. I get the resume, but I'm laser focused on this season. That this program, it's a proud program that this has happened to. And I feel like maybe VK's right. Maybe somebody in the admin is going to get whacked, but they're going to use Jerry Phillips as a scapegoat, and they're going to say, you know what, this is you. You could have fixed this. You could have told you could have motivated your kids a little bit differently, and they're gonna put them like a walk in the plank. That's the scenario I see. I think they're gonna make him pay to what happened, and I hate to say it, but you know, and I would not be surprised if I'm right because again, I can't think of a comparison point, but you know, another thing, we're going into week 8, some scintillating football games. One that I wanted to give love to, but work things led to things last night. Is a game that features a team I covered for 12 years. Bunky. They play Gina. If we weren't at Westgate and Westgate and LC, that would have been on the considerations. 2 7-0 teams, and I want to give props to Under the Lights. They're going to be calling that game Friday night, but you know, so they got a good one. We got a good one. It's what we do. We're very similar to those guys. They do a great job, but I just want to close by saying one little thing. Destro has in my top 5, Jared.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
I
indeed.
want to answer Coach Mo right quick. They never told those kids until right before the season. And I can say that's a fact because I was on Wallace Foster's
Yep.
live stream and somebody said, man, y'all ain't going to the playoffs, man. Y'all suspended. What you gonna do about that? And Wallace said, What the hell you talking about, man? You sound stupid, man. They didn't know because Warren Easton appealed it and they didn't win the appeal. So I think they're trying to. I
Mm-mm.
mean, I'm shocked. I haven't heard nothing about them trying to appeal this official decision. But I mean, it's a year that I'm sure Coach Jerry Phillips wants to get past and wants to forget about because this is, you know,
Mm. It's a mess.
it's a mess. It's a mess. So before we get out of here, ladies and gentlemen, VK got his finger up. Go ahead, VK.
Well, before we get out of here, before we end this week, we gotta send prayers out to LSU DB Greg Brooks Jr.
Yeah.
in his recovery, and also special prayers to the Southern University family assistant coach Sean Wallace, one of the greatest defensive players ever to play at Southern, who is an assistant coach. He's dealing with pancreatic cancer right now,
Definitely.
and he has not missed a game through treatments. I read the story about this. Keep in prayer of the Brooks family and the Wallace family.
One, since we're breaking news, and of course, prayers to both Greg Brooks and Coach Wallace. The Houston Astros have just put a bow on Game 3 of the ALCS, winning 8-5. They're back in the series. It's 2-1 Texas. And I know I'm on the Rangers bandwagon, Jared. I'm on Texas. I get it, but it's 2-1 Rangers. But Scherzer got roughed up a little bit tonight. Houston's bats came alive and they were able to win. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, yeah, they're back in the series. We'll see. But I don't know if y'all saw what LSU did for Greg Brooks. They did some kind of a tribute for him for the remainder of the year. And I think
Yeah,
that
you
they're
did.
going to do some fundraising and stuff for him.
Uh-huh.
But Coach Wallace, dealing with the most aggressive form of cancer you could find, pancreatic cancer, that is aggressive. And our thoughts and our prayers, I echo them, VK. I echo them immensely, immensely to both those gentlemen. And we're going to pray hard for you guys that God's got his healing hands on you guys and brings y'all back and shakes y'all back and get rid of this dreaded disease. Hashtag cancer sucks. Simple as that.
Without a doubt, definitely. All right, guys. Tuesday, we'll be back. We'll have a guest on Tuesday. And Tuesday again, we'll do our overall top 5. And we'll do our pickings on Tuesday. Wednesday is our 100th episode. We want you all here Wednesday for the 100th episode. VK got his finger up again.
No.
Uh-oh.
I was just saying prayers up to those, like Coach Mo put that thing up about those 3 kids that died in that fire.
Yeah, that's boy. You saw the video?
No, I
They got
didn't
the
see the
ring video of the
video.
man
Is that the thing is
walking
that the one
away.
in New
Who did
Orleans?
it? Yeah, it's New Orleans.
Is
Sad, sad, sad.
that's the new one? Oh yeah, the father. Oh my God, I heard about that at work today at the sheriff's office, and I had a moment. I ain't gonna lie to you, man, because that's cowardice. If
Yeah,
what I've heard is true, that's absolute cowardice, straight up. And that dude that did it, he should burn, absolutely burn. Cause man, what the? You got people that can't have kids. You got women that struggle to have kids. You got those fertility kind of things. But you killed your own.
yeah.
There's a
But
special place in hell for you, my boy. There's a special place in hell for you.
and then also it's bad in itself, but then at the same time, this might be, and I'm not trying to make no excuses. As a product of mental health myself, we don't know what was in that man's mind. We don't know, because trust me, there's some people sometimes, and sometimes if you gotta go get help, go get it. Because sometimes people do not know how to handle pressure. And this was bad in itself. We don't know what was in his head, and we don't know it all, because that's sad in itself. He should have did what he did. No excuses. But at the same time, we don't know what was in his head, because he might have lost his job. He might have had something that happened to him that bad that all of a sudden his mind just went crazy like that. But we pray for that family in itself.
Most definitely we do. Tuesday, 99th episode. We'll have a guest. Overall top 5 again, and we'll do our pick'ems. Wednesday, 100th episode. We want everybody to be a part of this. So tell everybody you know. Tune
Yes.
in for the 100th episode. We got a bunch of guests. Right now, I can tell you, we got Courtney Hogan from 1008 Prep Sports. We got Jordan Taylor from Under the Lights. We have Nick Campbell from the Nick Network Prep Report. We got your boy. Hey, 1-3. I thought about it for real. I thought about letting one of our guests come on, and I thought about you. So I'll probably go through with that. Let you come on for the 100th episode. So you talk about 35 doing this and that. Anyway, anyway,
You mean
anyway.
that
Um,
offensive explosion?
we got your boy, Coach. No, I'm joking on the back end of 35, but I was really serious when I thought about if I would let a guest come on, one of our
We serious.
top viewers. I was really thinking about you because you've been with us since the beginning, bro. So I'll probably do that. We got Coach, Coach Lau, Feet. He coming back on. Coach Erica
Oh wow.
Randolph is coming back on. I want to say I'm missing somebody out of there. Oh, Coach Corday Hankton is supposed to join us. He's going to try because he has work during that time. And there are a couple other people, I will let you know, a couple other people that I will ask to come on this show. But other than that, man, the 100th episode, I want that to be big, man, and I want everybody to come on in and watch. But other than that, Tune in Friday night if y'all not doing anything. www.tsbnsports.com as we present the game of the week between Lafayette Christian and Westgate, two of the best teams in the state. So we ask y'all to tune in on Friday night. But other than that, we way over 2 hours. It's time to roll out. For my man VK Jones, for Mr. George GP Peppers, I'm JB, your sports guy. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. Y'all take care.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Thank you for watching the Hash It Out Show. Please like, subscribe.